Well, Sam, thanks so much for joining us. I know you have a busy schedule. Thanks for making time. First thing I want to know, you're at the height of your profession. Do you still have those moments where you kind of catch yourself looking around a little bit like, man, I'm here. Like I'm in the ESPN studio. How did this all happen? How am I living my dream? How did this all come to fruition?
Yeah, I was hoping you could tell me because
I don't have those answers. I'm the last guy to ask.
I still have no idea. I kind of have that moment every Sunday morning when I walk into the studio because right as you walk into the studio in Bristol, there's a big plaque on the door that says Chris Berman and Tom Jackson Studio. And I'm like, don't really fit with that mix. But but I think in some ways, I think that's really healthy to have that constant appreciation of where you're at. And no, I don't think I did there are plenty more qualified people than me, but that's the cool thing about believing that God has a plan for your life is I don't have to stress about, oh no, what happens if I don't do a good enough job?
Yeah.
Like God's got this. You know, he put me in this position, hopefully for a reason that I'm going to find out. And in the meanwhile, you just enjoy what you're doing and be grateful for those opportunities. But yeah, I mean, literally every day, I'm still wondering how in the world this all happened.
You talk about that stress. You had so much success on College Game Day, now transition into the host of Sunday NFL Countdown. Was that a new pressure? How did you handle it? How are you handling that? Or, I mean, you're a pro. Did it just kind of wash right off you that first show when you get it under your belt?
Well, it was a difficult transition to make for me just because I wasn't leaving a job I didn't like.
Yeah.
But I also knew that I had 2 young children and I'd been on the road 4 days a week for the past however many years and was kind of separating my family because of my job. So the timing of all of it was so perfect that I knew like this is what's next. Now, in terms of workload and the amount of stuff that's on your shoulders, like, yeah, there's a ton more pressure because you're hosting the show. And I mean, very literally, people's jobs depend on how well you do.
Yeah.
So I try not to think about that too much, but at the same time, that's a good kind of pressure. You feel nervous and you feel pressure because it matters to you. And I think that's a good thing.
Got to be honest, I don't know any other broadcasters' kids. I know nothing about them. It's different with you. Anybody that knows you, follows you, your kids have been such a huge part of your job. You know, you talk about College Game Day, traveling with you. How do you manage to balance that family, the job, and your faith and your spiritual walk as well? Are there things you've had to kind of, like, these are guidelines or things I'm putting into my life to try to balance it all?
Yeah, so there is no balance. And that's something that I've finally had to accept because I think when you think about balance, you think about things that are equal in weight or value, right?
Yeah.
And when I think about my job and I think about my family, like, there's no comparison. That's never going to feel balanced. And just like this last year, if I wouldn't have had this opportunity, I probably would have had to give up the job I had because traveling with one child is a whole lot different than traveling with a toddler and a newborn, you know? So for me, I don't know. I guess I just realized I was going to be my whole self everywhere. And instead of having like this work persona where I act a certain way on the job and I pretend like I'm not a mom and not a wife and I'm just here to give you the hard news. Maybe if I worked for a hard news channel, I would do that. But to me, so much of sports is intertwined with family and entertainment. I mean, that's so much of what we do. So because Scout was with me on the road, I mean, the crazy thing is we didn't plan for her to like be a part of this whole thing. She was just with me all the time. I mean, literally all the time. And now, I mean, I see my role as a mom as so much more important than my role as a host of this show. Do I want to do my best while I'm at work? Absolutely, yes. But at the end of the day, like, they're not even in the same universe when it comes to my priorities. So I've tried to just be my whole self either way. And if that ever gets to the point where I can't really do that, then I'll step away from all this and do something else because I don't want that to define me in the first place.
Last thing, you've talked a lot about liberty and how that's kind of helped you professionally. You got a lot of reps here. You got that experience. More than that, spiritually, personally, how much did you grow during your time here?
It was a really unique couple of years for me because I'd lived in New York City 3 years before. So I'd kind of done the all like craziness. I mean, not anything so crazy, but like sort of lived that 18 to 21 years on my own in Manhattan. I came here because I wanted the structure. I wanted that kind of college environment where you had people that were really pouring into your life. Like, I would sometimes get emotional looking around, just watching that many people praising the same God as as I was. You know, I hadn't gotten to experience that before. So I really felt like I was able to soak up every moment that I was here because of the people that I was around. And honestly, it's just awesome to have gone to a place that keeps getting so much better, where you come back every time and are just blown away by what's happening here. So I'm just happy to be a very small part of that, and it makes me really proud to come back and see it all.
Well, we're glad you came back. Thanks so much for the time, and we really appreciate it.
Thanks. Good being here.